It's the pattern I want you to recognize that occurs in oligopoly. Take something like toothpaste. And when I was growing up, there was toothpaste, and then they introduced fluoride toothpaste, and that was a great advance because fluoride is going to help you and help everyone keep away the cavities. Then later on they introduced tartar control toothpaste, so now you had fluoride and tartar control. And then of course they started introducing the flavors, and so you had mint flavor and another flavor and this kind of flavor besides fluoride and tartar control. So these are obvious uses of product differentiation. They may be improvements, they may be seeking out certain consumer preferences, but every time they make these sort of attempts at a new product, they will always raise the price just a little bit. And that is to prevent the downside of the possible cannibalization that will occur, even if the new product is successful. If a toothpaste company like Colgate introduces mint flavored fluoride tartar control toothpaste, and all it does is take away sales from plain old tartar control fluoride toothpaste, well, that's not a real success unless they price it in a way where the customer has to pay another quarter or 50 cents. And that's exactly what they do, because oligopolists have pricing power. And so they understand the risk of cannibalizing, and they protect against the downside of it by pricing it higher. And then when that runs its course, they'll introduce something else. So you have fluoride, tartar control, and gingivitis control or prevention. And then you have mint strips through the middle. Then you have oxy bubbles through the toothpaste tube. And then you have every gimmick possible, right? And eventually they're going to call one total. And then they're going to, they've introduced nighttime toothpaste. I mean, everything. And every time they introduce something new, they mark it up a quarter. They mark it up 50 cents. So the toothpaste, can be $4.99, if it's a very special toothpaste. They do this with kids, and they just had regular old toothpaste, and now they have kids' toothpaste, and then they charge a little bit more. They do it with toothbrushes. My lord, they used to have just plain old toothbrushes. Then they introduced different firmness in the bristles. Then different shapes in the bristles. Then they introduced all sorts of things. The angled toothbrush. And this toothbrush does this and this, and keeps your teeth clean and gets rid of plaque and all this type of thing. And every time they introduce a new style and feature, they mark that price up a little bit more. All right? Sure, they'd like to take away sales from other companies, and if they get something if they make a hit, that's what will happen, and that's the best possible result. But they sort of have conceded that that's not going to happen every single time. That market shares, 5 years out of 6 are pretty stable. So they've learned to manipulate the cannibalization process, and they sort of plan it. I mean, men's razors are probably the best example of all. They had one blade, and you used to have to flip it around, and then you had 2 sides to one blade. And then they introduced 2 blades, then 3 blades, and 4 blades, and then 5 blades. And once the fusion razor, and once they have the fusion razor established, then they introduce complementary sorts of products like the foam, the shave foam for the shaving cream for the fusion. Like that foam is really going to be special and makes a difference. But these are marketing gimmicks, and they're all sort of planned because the marketers are very conscious of product cycle and the pricing and the ability and the time frame they have to maximize profit with any product differentiation they attempt. So you're seeing that sequence, as I described for toothbrushes, toothpaste, and razors, applied in the car market where the stakes are bigger. The stakes are in the millions of dollars. They're thousands per car, and then eventually millions and billions of dollars. All right? So The issue of cannibalization is mentioned, right at the end of that third paragraph. I read it. They will either cannibalize the sport utility or pick up sales or expand the market. When they say expand the market, they mean actually create a whole new segment that sort of takes over the other ones and sort of erases the old ones. All right? And that's potentially very, very successful. I'm going to read another paragraph just to show you how planned these product introductions are. The following paragraph in that article reads like this. Ford Motor Company, their executives predict that the sales of hybrid four-door and bed vehicles will equal about 15%, or 300,000 vehicles, of the annual existing sport utility market. Next paragraph. Ford expects to grab at least half of that 15% with 2 new vehicles or models next year. I want to do a little math to show you how well planned this sort of product differentiation and introduction is. They say that the new hybrid models, right, hybrid pickups, as defined in the article, as the term is used in the article, will be about 15% of the existing SUV market. All right? And they call that 300,000 vehicles. All right, so 15% of the market of SUVs is 300,000 vehicles. So what's that mean? How many SUVs are sold year by year? We can find it out with just a little math. If you remember the multiplier, you turn that percentage on its head. 15 into 100, 6.67. 6.67 times 300,000 vehicles. Well, 7 times 3 is 21. This is approximately, maybe just a little bit under 2 million vehicles. Right? 300,000, 7 times. Right? So, 2 million vehicles, right, is what the whole SUV market is. And they're aiming or estimating, in this regard they're estimating, that this new segment will be 300,000 cars. And it says explicitly, Ford's aim is to get 50% of that 300,000. That's their goal. 50% of the 300,000. So they're introducing Ford Explorer Sport Track. They want to sell 150,000 vehicles. That's their preordained goal. All right? I can tell you why and how exactly that number was arrived at. And because I know the economics of it, I know a lot about the average total cost curve of Ford. Okay? I'm going to start drawing. Okay? I think this will be seen in the video, right? The whole thing is captures the whole bottom of the pad. All right. Average total cost, dollars here, quantity of vehicles, these new hybrids, okay? A startup vehicle has high fixed cost. It's not cheap to introduce a new car. It's even more expensive than a new toothpaste. Not only is there marketing involved, but there's construction of an assembly plant with the right specs to do the right job for that new style truck. All right. So very, very high fixed costs are influencing its average total cost. But once the factory is set up, it will start to achieve very, very significant economies of scale. And right around here, just as the average total cost curve is flattening out, or bottoming out, that's a really important spot. You see, they are figuring we can price like maybe here, maybe $30,000, whatever the number is. If they only sell, this many cars, X, and they price here, well, they got a problem because they might not even be able to cover their average total cost. And even here, well, they might begin to make a little profit, if you can kind of see the separation between the red line, the pinkish line, and the black average total cost. They might start having some higher prices than cost, like here, but they still haven't reached their goal. They still haven't reached profit maximization as far as they're concerned. But if I extend this line, right? And identify that spot where the curve starts to flatten out, really flatten out. If they can get that many, then not only do they make the profit here, but they're setting themselves up for what? Huge profits later on. Because if it can expand, if it can market, if it can do just little things to improve the styling of the vehicle or make it more popular, then they're ready to go because they've achieved very significant economies of scale. They have a constant average total cost curve because everything's been set up, and they've established, a sizable enough market share within the segment to take full advantage of economies of scale. So this is for them just breaking even in the first, say, 100,000 cars. And it might take them 30,000 cars just to barely even start covering their cost per unit. And like I said, they may start making a little accounting profit here, but that's not what they're aiming for. They gotta reach that $150,000 vehicle figure, or else it's really not a very successful introduction for them. All right? Because if this takes 1 or 2 years, then as the model grows for 4, 5, 6 years, it can make loads of profit. All right? So it's a very risky thing for the car industry to introduce a new model, but they'll do such things, they'll take such risks when profit margins are becoming slimmer and slimmer. All right? Which happens, happened to station wagons, it happened to minivans. Everything runs its course, everything has a product cycle, and nothing about the future is known for sure. So these are risky decisions. But they know these numbers, they have histories of introducing other cars, they know the economics, they know the details of their cost structure, they can figure this stuff out. And that's what I'm trying to help you to see. These numbers are really meaningful numbers in terms of their profit goals and sales goals and all that. All right, that's the main thing. I just wanted to point out maybe a little aspect of something that always amazed me here. In the third paragraph, the economics of the truck market are looking more like those of the car market, blah, blah, blah. For instance, analysts estimate that the Ford Excursion has about $14,000 worth of profit built into it. That's in 1999. $14,000 of profit in it. Compared to the new Focus, small car, the Focus has only $700 profit. Well, if you're the chief executive officer of Ford, which vehicles are you going to start to take risks on to develop and start new models and hybrids of hybrids and all of that? The Ford Focus, which gets you $700 and isn't necessarily popular with everybody, or the most popular car model segment going, the SUVs, pickups, and all the Americans seem to be buying these things, even though they're pretty overpriced. And the moment you drive them off the lot, they devalue by $14,000, $15,000 because that profit that they build into the car, that's why I'm setting the price here. This is profit they're building into the car, a planned goal for profit. they're building that. That profit is not retrievable once you drive it off the lot. That's their profit. That's not, you're not going to get that back in a secondhand market, a used car market. So in my mind, there's always been this connection between the profitability of the original item selling it first or first hand and depreciation, right? You're not going to get the profit from the original seller. I mean, that's not yours. That's his already. And you're driving off, you lose it. That's what depreciation winds up being, okay? In terms of the monetary depreciation. Obviously, wear and tear is another thing. All right, I'm going to stop here because I'm sure I have a sense this went about 30 minutes, and it's going to, these videos go 20 minutes. They split them up in 20 minutes. I don't know exactly why. But I'm going to load this up, and this is Saturday. I don't know whether I can get another video up tonight, but I'm going to make another video either tonight or tomorrow, Sunday, about Coke and Pepsi and the water thing, right? The Coke story is very interesting, and I think we've made a little reference to it, but you'll see the details in here. But this is classic, in the meantime, this is classic oligopoly. Product differentiation, segmentation, cannibalization, and then cannibalization to another level, like planned cannibalization. All to manipulate profit prices in the best interest of the company. All right, I hope this helps. Car market's an interesting sort of area, and this behavior is typical of an oligopolist. Okay? Thank you, and look for another video. Okay?